How to fix knock knees without surgery. In today's video, I'll cover the causes as well as the best exercises and stretches to fix this so you can start moving and feeling better. So let's get started. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jessica, a therapist teaching you all about injury rehab tips. So if you're new here, consider subscribing. So what is knock knees and why does this happen? Knock knees is also known as valgus knees or genu valgum. This refers to the presentation of the knees touching each other, hence the knock knees, as well as the feet being separated. So we end up having excessive internal rotation of the femur as well as our tibia, and this creates that presentation of the knock knees. So there are four main reasons for knock knees. The first one is genetics. This is actually known as coxa vara, and this is actually a deformity of the neck of the femur. It's defined as the neck and the shaft of the femur being less than 110 to 120 degrees. In normality, we should have an average of 135 to 145 degrees. It's important to note that this can't be solely corrected via exercises. This is usually a surgical procedure. The second is flat feet. So also known as pes planus, or the arch of the foot is collapsed. This is a big one because what happens is when we collapse those feet, our tibias, they start to rotate into internal rotation, and this pulls the knees into that valgus position, creating that knock knees. So the third is tight inner thigh muscles or adductor muscles, or known as groin muscles. If those ones are tight, they also do pull the femur into internal rotation, also assisting the flat feet, and that creates a lot more of that valgus stress on the knee. And the last one is weak hip muscles. So specifically those external rotators of the hip and those abductors, if they're not strong, they're not providing that stability we require. So those tight muscles in the inside of the thighs now start to take over a lot of the work, and they start to really pull those knees inwards. So as you can see, the main problem really comes from the hip and the foot. So we're gonna target those two areas when we're going through the corrective exercises, because usually this is not a knee issue. It's the knees that are, yes, collapsing into that valgus position, but that's because of the stress that's placed on them due to the problems that are happening at the pelvis as well as the feet. So I'm going to show you a series of exercises to help you strengthen and stretch these areas and help you fix your knock knees. So let's get right into it. We're going to start with the stretches. We want to focus on stretching those adductors in the inner thigh muscles. And so the first one we're going to begin with is actually a kneeling position, and you're going to lift the affected side up. So what you want to do is that you can hold on to something if you need to. You want to slowly bring the affected leg out towards the side. And then now what you're going to do is you're going to slowly lean in towards that leg. And then you're going to hold this stretch for about 10 seconds. So you're actually going to feel it through here as well as through here. And then once the 10 seconds are up, then you're going to slowly come back. Then you want to try to gain a little bit more external rotation. Same thing is going to apply. You're going to lean towards that side, hold for 10 seconds, and then slowly come back up. So you want to do this about 10 times. Slowly work your way up. The stretch should be very gentle. It shouldn't be painful when you're doing it. And then you're going to alternate and do the opposite side. Now for the next stretch, it's going to also be for the adductor muscles. So you're going to be in all fours position, and you're going to extend one leg out, so the affected side. And then now what you want to do is you're going to just gently rock back and then rock forward. So you're going to do this about 30 seconds. And then you want to switch and then do the opposite side. So this is going to help to really alleviate that tension in through the adductors. And then if you feel like you're gaining a little bit more flexibility, you can also extend the leg out a little bit more and then continue to do that rocking back and forth motion. So as I mentioned, do it about 30 seconds, 3 times, alternate on both sides. So for the next exercise, we're gonna use a band, and we're gonna do banded glute bridges. So you wanna place the band just above the knees. And this is gonna help us gain that external rotation to help really pull those knees apart, strengthen those external rotators, and release those adductors from being so tight. So you're gonna lie on your back. You're going to bring your heels close towards your bum. You wanna push immediately in towards the band, lift up a little bit through your inner arches, and then as you drive up into the bridge, you wanna push up through the heels of your feet. This will help to engage those glutes and hamstrings, and then you're gonna hold for 5 seconds and then slowly control it back down. Then you're gonna repeat, come back up, squeeze those glutes. Make sure that you're driving from the hips and not from the lower back. And then slowly come back down. So I want you to start with 10 to 15 reps. Then you're going to start with 2 to 3 sets of these. So the next exercise we're gonna do are side planks with clams. So you're going to go into a side plank position. Your knees are going to be bent. And then what you're gonna do is you're going to make sure that you have your elbows actually tucked underneath your shoulder. The last thing you wanna do is start to create a shoulder injury. You're going to bridge, lift your hips up towards the ceiling, and then you're going to lift that top knee up, squeeze the glute, and then slowly come back down, and then all the way down towards the floor. So this is going to help strengthen that glute med muscle, which often becomes very weak. It starts to become very dormant, and we want to re-strengthen that to really help that external rotation. So you're gonna squeeze up, bring that knee up towards the ceiling, squeeze for 2 seconds, and then slowly come back down. So start with 10 to 15 reps, 3 sets. Then when you want to make it a little bit more challenging, we can use a band, just like we did with the glute bridges. You're gonna place it just above your knees. You're gonna lie back into that same position, hands on your hips. You're going to have your hips drive up towards the ceiling. And then as you do that, squeeze. And then hold for a couple seconds and then slowly come back down. You can start with a few less reps with this if it's a bit too challenging to start, and then work your way up to the 10 to 15 reps of 3 sets. So for the next strengthening exercise, we're gonna do banded squats. So the band's just gonna be just above the knees again. And what you wanna do is, I'll turn to the side here so you can see, you're going to lift through that inner arch. That's going to help to correct that flat feet, as well as to get the tibia and your femur into external rotation. And then once you've got that position there, then you're gonna brace your core and slowly come down into that squat position, squeeze and hold for a couple of seconds, and then come all the way back up, and make sure to drive and engage the glute at the top. And then repeat, come back down, hold for a couple of seconds, and then squeeze and then drive those hips all the way back up again. So 10 to 15 reps of these, 3 sets. Okay, so the last strengthening exercise for the hips is going to be an inline lunge, but using a little bit of resistance to help gain that external rotation in the hip. So you're gonna need a TheraBand. I'll link this also in the description below in case you're wondering what equipment I'm actually using for all these exercises. So this is kind of a light to medium resistance. And then you're going to place the affected leg through the TheraBand. The opposite leg is going to be back. You can use a little bit of support if you need to initially to start. And then now what you're going to do is you're going to externally rotate, same thing, lift up through that inner arch. You're going to gain that external rotation through the hip, and then you're slowly going to come down into that lunge and then squeeze back up. Slowly back down. So what you're looking for is you want to make sure that that knee is not collapsing inwards. So I'll even see if I can show you through the front here a little bit, is that you really want to make sure that you're not collapsing like this, that you are resisting that pull and you're coming down into that lunge and then squeezing back up. So a good indicator is to look at the second and third toe and make sure that that kneecap is staying in line there as you squeeze down and then you come back up. So for this one, do 3 sets of 10 reps on each side. Okay, so for those of you that are dealing with more so flat feet, toe curls is the first exercise we're gonna start with. So you're gonna need a towel for this one. And what you wanna do, you wanna have your foot flat on the towel, and you're gonna just gently start to curl up with your big toe and then the rest of the toes crunching up, and that's gonna help to strengthen that inner arch of the foot. And then you're gonna keep doing that until basically you get the whole towel curled up into a ball, and then you wanna lay that all the way back out again. So you wanna do it for about a minute, and you wanna do 3 sets of that. Okay, so for the next strength exercise, you're gonna need a TheraBand for this one. What you're gonna do is you're gonna place it underneath the unaffected side, if I can figure this out here. And then you're gonna cross it over top of this side, which is the affected side. And you wanna have it just around your midfoot. So what you're gonna do is that bottom foot that's unaffected is going to just stabilize the band. And you're going to have the band just around your midfoot, and then you're going to squeeze and bring it into what we call inversion. So that bottom part of the foot should start to kind of face towards me, and then slowly go into eversion. So letting that band pull you into that position, squeezing back up. This is going to help strengthen those muscles that support the inner arch, that tib post muscle that needs to be strengthened, that's often stressed because of the amount of strain placed on it from those flat feet. So this exercise will be really helpful at strengthening that inner arch and stabilizing the whole ankle and foot. So you want to start with 10 to 15 reps of this one and doing 3 sets, and then alternate also for both sides just for rest in between. Okay, last but definitely not least, this is one of my favorite strengthening exercises for the ankle in general and the calf. And this is going to help strengthen that tib post muscle that I mentioned that attaches down into the inside of the foot. And this really helps to strengthen that inner arch. So you're going to need either a stool or you can use your steps at home. And you're gonna wanna use a little squishy ball. So basically you wanna be shoulder width apart with your feet. So that ball shouldn't be too large and you just want it to be nice and light. We're gonna do calf raises with ball squeeze. So I'll show you here. You're gonna stand on the stool, and then you're gonna place the ball just between the ankles. You can hold on to something if you need to, and you wanna be right on the edge of the steps. And then you're going to lift your toes, then you're gonna lift your heels up towards the ceiling, slowly come down to get a nice stretch through the back of the calves. Make sure that you are still squeezing the ball. So if maybe you can see here, if I don't squeeze as much, I'm kind of collapsing more into that flat foot position with the tibias going into internal rotation. So you really wanna squeeze, and that's gonna just help to externally rotate the whole pelvis itself and the thighs. So you want to squeeze the ball and maintain that squeeze as you go all the way up towards the ceiling, and then slowly come back down, making sure that you maintain that squeeze the whole time. And you're gonna do this one 10 to 15 reps and 3 sets. So it should be nice and slow and controlled. So I hope you found this video helpful, not only at understanding a little bit more about the causes of this, but also the exercises and stretches to help you fix this. So then that way you can start moving and feeling better. All right guys, I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not already, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on my future videos. Anyways, I'll catch you in the next one. Bye guys.